Today we're at Cottage Bog, which is a beautiful local haunt of ours, and we're here for a spot of foraging. So we're going to be making an ointment later on today for if we've been bitten by any mosquitoes or horseflies. My mum in particular is very susceptible to getting bitten. Luckily they don't seem to like me that much, but this ointment should be useful nevertheless, and what we're making out of it partly is a beautiful plant called Bog Myrtle. So this is a lovely example of the Bog Myrtle here. So it's a small to medium woody shrub and it smells absolutely incredible. It's one of my favourite scents, especially in the summer when the essential oils are released by the heat. It just smells incredible. It's the smell of summer for me. So we're just going to gather a bit to make into an ointment.
So this is the Bog Myrtle. It does smell lovely, doesn't it?
It really does.
And we're going to pair it with plantain
to make a really soothing balm. So to add to our oil, I'm going to pick some calendula. So we have these growing beautifully in our garden. And I'll just take the flower heads to put in our oil. Hello, so we're back in the cottage now and I'm going to start preparing our herbal remedies. So first of all, I'm just going to unpack our little foraging basket and I'll talk you through what I've gathered. So I've got a couple of handfuls of the beautiful calendula from our garden. So here we've got a mixture of different types of plantain. So we've got the ribwort plantain, Plantain ribulata, and also the greater plantain. Up a little bit closer, you can very clearly see the difference in the leaves. So the ribwort plantain has very distinct, veins on it and is very long and thin, whereas the greater plantain has a much more rounded leaf and much more softer veining. Now, all the different types of plantain that we have the same medicinal properties. So although knowing the species is good for identification, in terms of herbal remedies, you can use whatever you have on hand and they all have the same soothing properties. Now we also have some bog myrtle, which you will have seen me collect earlier. So this is not only good for repelling insects, which is very useful, but it can be also made into a balm or salve that can be used topically for any bites that you might have, which is what we're going to be doing today. So this is the bog myrtle closer up. It's an absolutely beautiful plant, both in terms of how it looks, but also its scent. It's got such a musky summer scent. So today we're going to be making two different types of salves for skincare, one of which is going to be for general moisturising and skincare for every day, which is going to be our calendula and plantain. And then we're going to make a second one specifically for insect bites, which we're going to combine some of the plantain and the bog myrtle. So I'm just going to roughly chop the calendula just to get as much surface area as possible into the oil, and to start releasing some of the beautiful extracts. This isn't absolutely necessary, you can just put them in, but I prefer to chop them up slightly. So now they're just roughly chopped and I'll add them into my nice clean jar. Now obviously these will need to be in the oil for quite a while before we're actually able to make them into the salve, so this isn't the finished product, so we're just going to be making the oil today and then it will need further processing about 3 to 4 weeks from now. So now I'm just going to chop this plantain, very simple. into our jar. Now I don't need to be too strict about measurements, I'm just going to top it up with some olive oil, but you can use any type of oil that you have to hand. Some people might like to use jojoba oil or any kind of oil that you like to use for skincare. It really is just up to your personal preference. Now, if you did just want to keep this as an oil, you could add some vitamin E oil in as a preservative, but since this is going to be processed into a balm, I'm not going to do that today. That's another good option if you would just like to leave it as an oil. So it's a very similar process again. I'm just going to roughly chop the plantain and add it to our second jar. I'm not sure my knife is up to the task, so I think I'm just going to crush the bog myrtle and rip it apart with my hands. Right, and now it's time to top it off with oil. One thing to bear in mind is all the plant material needs to be submerged under the oil, otherwise the plant material can go mouldy. So just bear that in mind if you're going to try this at home. It is very simple though. So there we have it, there are our two oils. But we did realise that we picked too much bog myrtle, so I'm just going to make a smoke stick with this and some mugwort, which I'll go and collect from the garden. And I think a little bit of sage that we have growing in the greenhouse actually. So here I've got two bundles that I'm making up for our smoke cleansing. So I've got sage, the leftover bog myrtle and some mugwort from the garden. And there we go, just from the leftovers, so nothing's gone to waste. So on the theme of insect repellent and insect bites, I'm just tidying up here and I thought I'd show you the tanzy that I've gathered from the garden. Now here in Wales, most cottages would traditionally hang tanzy inside, usually by the doorway, to deter flies from entering the cottage. So I'm just going to tie this up here in our kitchen to try and keep the number of flies down in our little house. It also looks really beautiful dried, and the flowers, which are this lovely yellow colour, keep their vibrant yellow for a really long time. In fact, we're just getting rid of the tansy that we collected about this time last year, and it's still slightly yellow, which is really beautiful. So there we go, little bunch of tansy. So we finished with our making for today, and I'm just here in the living room having a little bit of a relax. But I wanted to show you this beautiful piece of furniture that we invested in recently. So this is a settle from the 1700s. It's from Pembrokeshire, and we recently got it from an absolutely incredible antique store in Ceredigion called Welsh Vernacular Antiques. So yeah, I just wanted to come and show you this. We thought you'd appreciate it. So we're not sponsored or anything, but they are an absolutely amazing and very friendly company, and they stock so many great traditional Welsh antiques that we thought you guys might want to take a little look. If you're not already, please like and subscribe so you don't miss part 2 of this video, where we're going to be actually making the salves, and we'll also be giving you a short apothecary tour. Might even be doing some chutney making with our homegrown shallots. So yeah, please stay tuned for that if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in. Thank you so much, and goodbye for now. Bye.